hold on. Let's calculate these guys. Okay, so I didn't label this part A, part B, but you get the idea, part A and part B. So let's look at this function, the first one, which is sine of x squared. Okay, so right now, just to kind of make sure we understand how chain rule works, I want to kind of go a little bit slowly. Let's use the stencil, right? So the stencil here is going to be, let's call this, actually, let me call this h of x. And so my stencil, so in the language of chain rule that I just wrote earlier, the outside function we were calling f of x, and the inside function we were calling g of x. So we need to write this as part. So, and then we also have, we'll do this at the same time, we also have the other function h of x, which is sine of x, and then the whole thing gets squared. And then I have an outside function and an inside function. All right, so we're going to kind of do these side by side so we can see the difference between them. Okay, so now that we've kind of written all our stencils. Camelia, hi. How are you this morning? Good? All right, good. So you're going to tell us for the first one, sine of x squared, what is our outside and inside function?
The outside function is sine of x squared.
Ooh, wait, you said sine of x squared? That's the whole function.
That's not right. So it's just sine of x.
Just sine of x. What's the inside function?
That would be x squared.
That'd be x squared. Okay, now what about the other one?
Okay, so the outside function is it's sine of x squared at y.
Squared? Okay, so who wants to help out, Camelia? So what's the outside and inside function for the second function? Rachel?
Wouldn't the outside one just be x squared and the inside be sine x?
That's correct. So it's kind of the opposite, right? So the outside function, so the inside function is the thing you do first, right? First I do sine x, and then I square the whole thing. So the inside function is the sine x, and the outside function is the x squared. Right, so the difference between these two examples is that the outside and inside functions have swapped roles, right? So obviously that makes a difference. Now, chain rule tells us what? So let's look at the function on the left-hand side. Chain rule tells us you first differentiate the outside function. Now, we know that the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. Now you should think of that as a stencil. Derivative of sine of something is cosine of something. Don't think of it as just x, but think of it as sine becomes cosine. Because chain rule tells us what? The first term is going to be not cosine of x. It's going to be cosine of x squared, right? Whatever was already inside stays inside. It does not become cosine of x. It just becomes cosine of x squared. Then chain rule tells you, okay, well, the inside function is this function x squared, so I need to multiply the whole thing by its derivative by 2x. Okay. Now, what is the difference? How is the second piece different? Well, obviously it's going to be different because now the outside and inside functions are swapped. The outside function is now x squared, and we know that the derivative of x squared is what? It's 2 times the input, right? It's 2x. It's twice whatever is already there. So what is here? Remember, this is kind of like sine of x, and the whole thing is squared, right? So you could think about it like this. The 2 comes out as a coefficient and then decreases by 1. But whatever was inside stays inside, right? The inside stays the same. So I get 2 sine x to the power 1. I don't need the 1, but I'm going to write it there just to be clear. And then what was inside? Inside was sine of x. So chain rule tells you, okay, multiply the whole thing by cosine of x. That's the derivative of the inside. We can then erase these little crutches. And right, so now we see that we do get, two different answers. Right, I mean, they were two different functions. Questions?